on page, no, that's at the wrong page. On page Samche. So we had just been saying about the ribui or there's not enough. So we had that concept of opening or closing, what happens. And now we're just going to read across the top here first, and then we come back another time and read the tiv. So by either being open too much or closed too much, it's impossible to be able to sustain itself, and we're going over these words now, even one moment. So sha'achas, dahainu, bechinas malchus sheberasiach hanikra sha'achas, which is called by that name. Now, right over here, it doesn't really explain to me what's the metaphor here, what's the poetic idea of Malchus being called one moment. I'm trying to think of it, but I don't have anything. Kaniska b'tikunim, it's mentioned in the tikkun number samach tes, besod mazel shah gorim, that the mazel shah gorim causes, I guess, the flow down into the mazel shah gorim. So besod shah omedislo, or the concept of the shah, the moment or the time, omedislo stands for him. So let's see right there. So that's the concept of shah achas. So he said. There you go. Vayidei came rofe kabasar, and as a result of this, is able to heal all flesh. Right. So he says, so mitukadinim ayedech rachmim through rachmim. So he said, basar heim dinim, because the concept of basar itself, when you say rofe kabasar, he said bistru sumku v'hu basiya. So it is a color red. Red is lashon din. So this is the dinim that you say in Asiya are red, so rednesses. Ki misham hu so to basar, because that's where the secret of basar comes from. Then it says of alkein hu mafle lasos. So therefore it's wondrous. There's a wonder that it's done here lasos. But so lomaki mamshech hanesiv ha'elyon hanikra pella. So he says there is a path, or a, let's say, a stream bed or something like that on the sieve, this path, ha'elyon hanikra pella, which is called by the name Pella. Pella is a gematria 111, and you add the kolel, it's 112, which is yabuk, which is a concept of yisod. Ad Olam Haasiya, until it reaches that Asiya. So that's the mafli, is be able to extend the shefa from up above down below into Olam Haasiya. Kedei, why? Kedei lamatek dinachu, in order to be able to sweeten up its dinim. V'zecha b'mafli lasos, and that's the idea that you're bringing the shefa from up above, that is for panemios, into Asiya, which is lasos. V'nir mezech b'asiya b'milas lasos. Last one, he says in Masha Kosov, so what it writes over here, Galui v'yadua livnei kiseg v'decho, hu b'olam atzilus. This is talking about the world of Atzilus. So he says, what? The fact Galui v'yadua, who knows? What is the knowing here? Ashecha b'chayosef panimi b'kisach hakavod shucha bria, which is more panimi than the concept of bria, which is a kisach hakavod. So it's of v'yadua livnei kiseg v'dach. In other words, it's known before that. And this is the concept of, really, you could see that inside of, in Panemius, of whatever flow we're talking about, he wants to tell you that this is coming from Olam Silus, is the one that is knows. Because that's where the incipience of that reality, of the reality of Asiya comes from. So this is what it says before, it comes before the Kisek V'Udecha. Misham niglim v'nigalim, and there it's revealed v'yiduim bechinas hanikavim ha'elu. Then we understand the concept of these nikavim. Now, before he was talking about, and I had that question, I said, what nikavim is he talking about? Is he talking about, say, for example, there's a skull in Olam Haasiya? Or is he talking about the nikavim, which we normally associate with, say, Panemius or Atzilus? We're talking there about the nikavim of Eric Anpin. So he says, at any rate, going backwards, is Mam Niglin v'Yeduha b'Bechidas Nekavim Ma'elu. That's where you see these Nekavim and their action. Lamatkam Misham, in order to be able to go all the way back to the beginning of this kavana, of the ma'atzah, let's say, so to speak, Lamatkam Misham Nekavim, in order to be able to sweeten them through these Nekavim. Min Atzilos Hayoshe B'Benime, so this Atzilos, which is everything else, is wrapped around this Atzilos Hayoshe B'Benime Min Kisi Kavodecha. It's, in other words, it's inside of that. It comes before that. Shuhu Habriya Kanizkar. So this is Abriya, as we mentioned before. So we have a few minutes before the break, and so maybe we'll go over to, I think we're on Reish Samech Ches. Reading the light print only. He says, so when the Nekavim are closed, and then you have a tremendous multiplication of dinim. Yud dinim b'li rachamim. There will be dinim, there won't be anything to sweeten them. Az yi asher l'eskayim, then it's impossible to sustain yourself afilu sha'achas b'dinim, so that even sha'achas, that is malchus, which is full of dinim, will not be able to maintain itself. Number Reish Samech Tes is where it says even one moment. That Malchus Dosiya, she has Sfira Olam Haasiya, which is the ultimate, it's the end of Olam Haasiya, another all the way down to the bottom. He lo tuchel the hiskayim, there wouldn't be any reality here at all. Mamach bes chesik v'toikif v'dinim b'li shum mito, because there's no between shum rachamim, where there's not going to be any rachamim, it would be impossible to stand. So he says, now that was the question. Why is it called one moment or 1 hour or whatever shah means over here? So this is what the Matbeya Bracha, I'm not sure what he means by this, explains this. He says, so we have that whole phrase from this bracha. You'll not be able to sustain yourselves even for even down into the malchus of malchus, which is the din of dinim. It's called one moment. He lo tuchel la'amod v'lehiskayim machbes godel v'toiki v'dinim v'chisaron midis of rachamim, because if there's no rachamim, even the malchus at the very bottom cannot make it. So therefore, when you open up these openings that we're talking about, in the proper way, in a way that it needs to pour out, they all get the right amount of shefa, specifically exactly the amount they need. So therefore, it causes, without doing anything special, it allows everything to receive a refuah, which he says is a sweetening. Refuah is called basa na'asis berachamim. So if you could bring enough rachamim in, you could heal. So that is that the amount of opening that takes place in these openings, and I think really he's talking about the Nekavim of the Rosh of Eric Anpin, although that's what I think, but I'm not sure. With the amount of shef, in other words, the square peg in the square hole, so that everything fits together. But in a way that the dinim should not be completely and totally nullified, because the world needs them. Also, that the Nekavim shouldn't open up too much. So we'll not be flowing out. So now he says a little bit more. So that specifically the basa really is a reflection of dinim. Okay, that's where we stop right there. And let's see. Try to get in. Kevin Edim, since Basar is red, the Edim Ramas the din. Basar Hazer Romas the Olam Haasiya, it's really trying to tell us about this world which is bloody. A Basar Edim. So he said Haasiya Kadersev Vidalta, I don't know this word. Vidalta Rosh Argaman. He says the Vidalis, I guess, the braids of your hair are or argaman, which argaman, what is purple? That means there's redness in it. So he said, Laham tegadinim shebe'olam haasiya shesham rovo dinner, because there the most is almost everything is dinim. It's 80% din. Yesh tzorach b'shnei inyanim. So there's two things you need. Ha'echad hu nekavim, and now one, you need the hisma to set the light through the nekavim. Shal yadam yotze shefa shel rachamim hamamtek as a dinim. So this is where the shefa will come down to sweeten. The other one is to bring it out of the Yisod of Abba, which is Pella. It says a 111 plus the Kollel is 112. Ad Olam Haasiya. So in other words, the flow can make it all the way down. They're talking about dinim. So this chachma that's flowing sweetens up the dinim. Kipirish umafli. So let's take that word umafli. Kind of Yisod the Abba Nikra Pella. Now this is something I don't know. So he says that the word mafli really refers to Abba, who is called a Pella. Because it has the ability, it's amazing that it's able to go all the way down into Siya. Olam Haasiya nirmez b'tevis lasos, so it really reflects the word lasos, which is Olam Haasiya, shuhu lashon Haasiya, kihu koi al Olam Haasiya. So then we said, l'lefi kisei kavadecha, about that part. He says, koi, that's it. Okay, there's where we stop, right there. Okay, now that is the shear over here in the Shar Kabbalah.